much content do you have? So technically, we just hope for the best. So far, so good. Things are going well. Thank you.
After day 1, day 2, I could tell that this year's AIS was going to be more challenging than the previous ones. I said it like a joke before we set off that we are going to have so much content to the production team. It sounded like a joke. I even took it as a joke, like you're going to have content. But with every passing day, we realized that, Charlie, it was a reality. Because every single day we had an incident. And there was this time where we had, time, I think it's only the 7th. The time of between 5 to 6 is the time for punctured tires. It made us started believing that, 5 to 6 is the time. First day we had it, second day we had it, third day we had it, fourth day we had it, fifth day we had it, sixth, it's only 7. I think we had a tire problem. That was the Raptor. Had a tire problem on the 7th day. So officially, I think 5 to 6 on the AIS 3 was the time for tire problems. Mine was also from 5 to 6. The GS one was between 5 to 6. Yeah, the Tenere's on the day before was 5 to 6. African Twin first day, and then I think it's only Jerrald. No, we even did. Day 6 was me again, because Jerrald's own happened in the afternoon. Mine was after they changed the rim. My tire kept loosening. So between 5 to 6, we had to stop. Where you got those the nice sunset videos. Yes, I had to stop to pump my tire. So between 5 to 6 on this trip was for tire problem. We had incidents straight from day 1 till day 7, but every bike and car was ridden and driven back to base. My front frame was gone, but I rode into Accra.
It's a 5-star.
Hey.
Look, this is a Chinese rim.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's even stronger than
Oh,
this.
it's 5-star. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Look at this.
I'll take a big sample.
Jerrald lost his back tire and the front tire, but still he rode into Accra. There were some other situations of tires. There was a situation of what was the name, limp mode. That still, every single bike rode into Accra. The cars, brake issues, we managed to fix it, even though they were mechanics for bikes. They managed to help fix it to get the cars working. When the Raptor had its situation, they were there to help it fix. So Danlad and Edie, I think they're the one, after the photographers and the drivers, they're the one that worked the most. Because every incident that happened, they were supposed to be there, take off this, do this, making sure the bikes, whatever incident happened, it is fixed. Every bike and car rode back home, and that says a lot about them.
Danlad is also a 3-timer. Danlad has been on the first AIS, the second AIS, and then the third AIS. So Danlad is familiar with what AIS is supposed to be. So we realized that when the going got tough, he knew what to do.
Charlie, the most adventurous AIS ever.
The African Twin, the automatic, the guy, he shocked me, believe me. I swear, he shocked me. I shocked. It shocked me. Wow. No, sometimes, the new
Commerce
always giving a surprise thing. By even some places we pass.
On 2 or 3 occasions, Danlad had to jump on someone's bike and then ride along until the person is fit enough to come and get on their bikes again. So he did something that I wasn't expecting him to do. He took a helmet, he took a jacket, and took his riding gear and kept it in one of the pickups. I didn't know he had done that. So when from, I think, Western region, Fabian couldn't go again, I saw that lad holding a helmet and a jacket, and then I spoke to him and I said, Kaka Wabinga. I said, did you bring this thing here? He said, yes. because he knew there were going to be times when people will not be able to ride. And look at this, the first AIS, he didn't take his gear and there was no need for him to ride. The second AIS, he didn't take his gear, there was no need for him to ride. But the third AIS, if it was someone, he would say, oh, let me not take it. But he still brought his riding gear. And this time, he had to ride 3 different bikes. He rode Fabian's bike at a point, he rode Jerrald's bike at a point, he rode Sinner's bike at a point. Danlad is super fantastic. Edie, personally, is a super fantastic human being. This is his first time on AIS. When I told him I was going to take him on AIS, he laughed. And I asked him whether he wasn't sure I was going to take him. He said, oh, he's sure. Just that he wasn't expecting me to choose him. I said, yeah, it's my choice. He's going to deputize for Danlad. He says, okay. Edie is that guy who would agree to everything that you tell him. If you tell Edie to, that doesn't mean that he doesn't do his checks, but he would agree just for the sake of peace. He's a very peaceful guy. He's a very good mechanic. I mean, I've known Edie since 2008, 2009, when he first was brought as an apprentice in my dad's workshop. He's not changed. The Edie that I knew in 2008-9 is the same Edie that I knew in 2023.
The skill of each driver, I can't talk about the rest, but the car I sat in, Joe is up there. Joe is one crazy motherfucker. The way Joe handles his car, mad. He doesn't fear any terrain. He sees everything as good road. Everything is good road to Joe. When I was sitting in Joe's car, I was like, Joe, my bike. I was like, oh, don't worry. Trust me. Your bike is safe. And true too, the bike had been safe. He would do everything, but he sends my bike where I needed it. So Joe, one crazy motherfucker, that's all I can say. Skill level, top.
I realize that stuff like this, the bikes are giving more issues than the cars.
Aside Jerrald, Joseph was also responsible for laughter in camp. He was the one who was going to give you the scientific angles to everything. Look, in Jirapa, Joseph said something that got all of us laughing.
So, if you put human in age category, like from day 1 till the last person on it. Okay, so the most aggressive within the age category are the 2 years old. You know what they do? They steal, they kick, they bite, and they punch. Which 2 years olds are? The 2 years.
They said when you group human beings in age categories, the 2-year-olds were the most violent, the 2-year-olds would steal, the 2-year-olds would insult. He said a lot of things about the 2-year-old, and I said, Joseph, a 2-year-old? What does the 2-year-old know? But he went on to show us that just if you put something down, the 2-year-old wants it by force. They will use every means to pick it up from you. And so the 2-year-olds are very violent. And that was, I think, something that cracked the whole team up. I mean, the road to Jirapa wasn't the best road. And so by the end of the day, everyone was down. But the things that Joseph kept saying in camp, like telling us that a 2-year-old is the most stubborn of all human beings when you put them in age category, that alone will crack everybody up. And then to tell us that they are violent. I'm sure immediately people were trying to picture a 2-year-old with violence. And he said, yes, if I put this bottle of water here, if this 2-year-old wants that bottle, they will do everything possible to take that water from you, including crying, screaming, etc., etc. But Joseph is a fantastic guy. Look, not only did he come with his car, the Ford Raptor, he also came along with a towing clamp. Yes, we prepared for emergencies, but he made it even better for us because he came with a clamp that hooked the GS that broke down expectedly from Bole all the way to Upper West region. Wow. Carrying the bike behind him in the way and manner he did very, very well for us. Every team planning a tour should have a Joseph on it. Super great guy. He always has scientific answers to everything.
The other drivers, Christopher did extremely well. Christopher did very well. He was very patient. The Pajero driver, he was very patient and he was ready to help. Like, he was out there, he brought himself, like, Midye, use me. Like, what do you need? Anytime we get here, he was the one carrying the water. Anywhere we reach, opens the boots, raises the things well made, raises the thing. How do you need, water do you need? Remove, and give to everybody. And everyone is okay, then he closes. Thomas, is it Thomas? This is the Brown. I didn't really have much with him, but at some point I realized that he was the fourth French person on the trip. He also speaks French, so that is where at Mole, that is where I got to spoke to Brown a little. He's a very interesting guy, but he gave a hint at Boutre on the first day. We entered his car and he was playing French music, but he didn't play. And we were like, why are you playing French music all throughout? And we were like, oh, someone gave it to him and it was on it. So that should have let us know that he is the fourth French person on the trip. So yeah, he did extremely well, being able to handle the car without brakes. He was out of brakes, and he was still able to handle the car and bring the people he was carrying safely to their homes.
Brown, as a driver, he did marvelously well. I don't know him so much. I only met him for 1 week. And so it would be unfair to pass any kind of judgment about him. I don't know him so much, but as a driver, he was super fantastic. At points, he would come, because I was using my Bluetooth, he would come in and say, boss, when our fuel go down, if where we go, fuel station, no, they ahead, look with fuel. And I said, okay, cool, go on fuel. And I realized that he's also very, very spiritual. Senna had diarrhea, I think, in Wa. And then Brown came to us and said, we need to get a cassava plant. I said, what will you use the cassava plant for? He says, get me cassava plant and I will sort Senna's issue out right now. I said, okay. Luckily, we're in a forest area. I'm sure we'll find cassava. So I forgot about it. And then at the point I remember that, Brown said he wanted cassava plant. So I asked Senna, did Brown get a cassava plant? He said yes. So apparently, if you get a cassava plant that has got 7 stems and you have diarrhea, pluck 3 of the leaves of that particular cassava plant and put in your pocket. And the diarrhea will stop. Yeah, so that was the first instance. And then the second instance, we visited the Larabanga Mystic Stone site. I don't know if you know about the Mystic Stone. The people of Larabanga say that stone is a mysterious stone. Whatever you say to that stone shall come to pass. Of course, as always, if you back it up with faith. So when we got to Larabanga, I saw Brown take out money from his pocket, slap it on the stone. Then started reciting things. I was just looking at him in shock. Started reciting things, then took the money, went all around the stone, then he put it on his head, went all around his body. I was just looking at him and laughing. I said, okay. He's very, very spiritual. He did 2 things. One was the cassava plant episode and then the Larabanga Mystic Stone. Yeah, but he's a super fantastic driver.
Benji too doesn't like his life. Because on risk, he'll take a sit and bring himself out. It's normal, he's working with transporters, so he has learned how to take risks. So he sits on the window and be videoing. I'm like, so if this thing falls right now, you're not afraid? I was saying in my head, but oh well, he knows what he's doing. And he knows how to hold the car well. And like I said, the driver was patient. The driver who was able to be patient enough to hold them, so nothing happens to them, even though they come out of the window. Some people wouldn't allow that, but he was patient to allow that you do what you need to do to make this a good experience. So thank you again.
Ben is a social media friend. I think 1 week to AIS, he calls me and says he knows it's a bit late, but he really wants to be on the AIS train. I said, how are you going to be on the AIS train? You don't have a bike, and you also don't have a car that can do the terrains we're going to go on. He said, so he doesn't mind tagging along. But you know what? He's a photographer. I said, okay, why not? We have one photographer. A second one wouldn't be a bad option. So let me try and make space for him in one of the pickups. So I told him to give me some days, let me think about it. So I think on the second day, I found space in one of the cars. I called him and said, Ben, we've done all our reservations already. You might have to share a room with someone. I'm not going to look for someone for you, but these are the people that we are going with. Try and get a rapport with somebody, and then you can tag along. So I think he contacted Senna, and Senna was willing to stay with him and do everything with him. So that's how come Ben came on board. But look, he did marvelously well. In the mornings, you see Ben arranging stuff, making sure everything is in place. He also was a photographer, so he also did photography work for us. He did marvelously well. I call him the Kenyan man. I think he was born somewhere in Kenya, or he goes to Kenya a lot, but Ben is super fantastic. He did marvelously well. So John, alongside Danlad, Kindi, Ahmed, and myself, we are all 3 timers. So John is also on his 3rd AIS. So if you look at John, this time around, he was very bossy. I don't know if you noticed, because yeah, he's been on AIS 1, AIS 2, and he's on the 3rd AIS. Now he's supposed to be a boss, yeah, so, but he's a good photographer. He has something that he does, and we all make fun of him. Before taking a picture, he will cover one eye. So anytime John doesn't cover one eye, we say that then he's not taking the picture. Only sometimes his interpersonal relationships with people, but I believe he can work on it. I've spoken to him a few times and told him to work on his interpersonal skills, because look, these people you are meeting for 1 week, you might not meet them again. Do your best for them. Give them your best. If you happen to meet them again, fine. If you don't meet them again, you give them your best when you meet them. So John is a correct guy.
Jean, AIS 1, AIS 2, and AIS 3, photographer. He did a job. He was apt with the timing of the pictures. He dropped them right on time, very well. Aiko, I will give Aiko production, video production, because that was his forte. To get to capture the emotions, capture the incidents, capture what AIS really is, to bring it out in a video form so people can really feel and understand what we went through in AIS. So that's I put to Aiko, and he has done an extremely good job. He has done an extremely good job.
We did the Look Twice campaign in July in 2022. I didn't ask Aiko to come on board. One time received a fantastic video from Aiko. He came to shoot a video for us. And the video was the video that we used all along. And he didn't charge us for it also. And everyone that saw the video said that this is a very, very good video. He flew his drone. He even did still photos. And that made it very easy for me to choose him for 3rd AIS. Ellie played a role in me choosing Aiko, because Ellie is a great guy. So if Ellie makes a recommendation, already 70% I'm into that recommendation. I've seen snippets of his work, and one other thing that he did that I applaud him very much was at a point when we were all very tired and didn't know how many kilometers were left for us, he flew his drone for the drone to go and check how much of a bad road was left and how many kilometers were left. So Aiko, I'll work with Aiko every time.
I think, and the nurse, she did her job. The nurse was able, she did her job because the few bruises, I got some eye problem. I think Jerrald too got some eye problem. Getting people their medication. Crystal got eye problem because of the dust. We had a lot of dust. Aiko had some bleeding, so she was up to task. She was up to task as well. So yes.
So one day I received a message in my inbox, around in 7 inbox, saying, "Hello, good morning. My name is Aiko Adade. I am the OT regional representative for Ghana's Most Beautiful, and I've seen your map. It looks like you guys are passing through my town. There is a hidden gem in my town that nobody knows of. If you guys will pass through that place, I'll be very glad. There's an iron cave in Apafu, Toji, that nobody knows about. And it's a very interesting place. The whole town itself is on a mountain. So the whole town in itself is a tourist attraction center before even visiting the mining cave. The simple fact that she saw our map and said, our map looks like we are passing through her town. And there's a hidden gem in her town and she wants us to see. I think the people of Apafu should really celebrate her for what she did.
Crystal. I have a name for her, but I can't mention it over here. So I'll just keep it to Mama. Mama did the job of a mama. She took care of the group. She made sure we didn't need. Even if we needed, she made sure we get it, we had it. She made sure we were fed. She made sure we always had water to drink. Technically, that's why I call her Mama, because she made sure we got a place to sleep.
The lady responsible for our day-to-day running. So originally, we were to have lunch at Jirapa and then go and sleep in Bogatanga, Ghana. Everything happens for a reason. I'm sure if you ask every member of the team their best sleeping place, where they enjoy the most, they will all tell you it's Jirapa, Dubai. Meanwhile, we were not supposed to have slept there. We were to have lunch there and then continue to Bogatanga. They even blew our mind even more the next day when they said they have a zoo. We can go on a safari there. We saw all manner of animals. Also remember, we failed to get to Wichiao. So at Jirapa, Dubai, we made up for the Mole disappointment and then the Wichiao disappointment. So Jirapa, Dubai gave us a good stay, gave us good food, and then fed our eyes.